right, guys, welcome. Eternal Weekend is getting closer, and I have ramped up the content over on MetaFi. Just look at these guest guides. We have all the best experts on their favorite deck, everything up for grabs, whatever you want. Go over and check it out. Furthermore, I have updated my 5 favorite decks. Jeskai Wizards, Dimir Reanimator, Mono Red Prison, Grixis Delver Cutter, and Dimir Tempo ahead of Eternal Weekend. These are my favorite legacy decks. I'm sure you like at least one of these. And last but not least, I have top 6 vintage decks. Tested 75s, plants against the field should be everything you need in order to travel to Eternal Weekend and do well. So if that sounds interesting, go and become a Booksmart Baron over on my MetaFi. Thanks so much for listening. And now let's get back to winning in Legacy. All right, guys, it's time for another basement battle. I am facing off against BoshNRoll. I'm bringing 3 decks from my community. He's bringing 3 decks from his community, and we battle it out in the basement. We try and avoid the top of the metagame to make things a little bit more interesting and spicy. And that's exactly how you should see today's video. So we're not in the top of the metagame, but we're certainly playing viable decks. And I have a sweet one here by a member of mine called Brian. It's a very nice blue-white control deck that he used to top 8 a tournament in the past weekend. And I got a little bit of freedom here to brew a tiny bit around with it. So we have Thalia here going on with Quantum Riddler, a combination you would love to see. Make sure the Riddler stays in play, draw a bunch of cards. Then if you run out of resources, even your draw step starts to double. Love to see that, right? We do run a couple of Containment Priests. They're hitting on the graveyard and sneak and show type shenanigans while making Thalia into I guess, the Abyss or Terminate every turn. That should be pretty good. We have standard stuff here with cantrips and free counter magic, plows and endings. Then we have a couple of consigns here for a little bit of Thalia synergy and Quantum Riddler sustainability. We play 4 Tamios because that card is amazing. And then in our mana base, I added a red. I added red because I want slightly better prismatic endings, and I added red because I love Pyroblast out of my sideboard. Sideboard-wise, when we're playing like blue-white control-ish, I love Wrath of the Skies. This checks a lot of boxes. It's my Meltdown. It's my Supreme Verdict in 1. I love my second negation, some non-basic hate. Good, I don't have to sell you guys on why Hydroblast is a good legacy sideboard card, whether it's Burn, which won a tournament a weekend ago, or, Painter, Mono Red Prison, Sneak Attack, Rite of Flame type decks. It'll do the job. Third consign because colorless. And then a couple of Graveyard Hate pieces here, which combined with Containment Priest, I hope is going to be enough. And then a couple of Lavinia against combo decks, which I think is this deck's weakness if I were to mention such. All right, this is going to be blue, white, splash red control by Brian. All right, round 1 of the basement battle here. I'm playing blue-white control, and I'm up against a revealed Yorion. Let's see if we can find a hand that can actually play the game. Wow. Basic Mountain. So is it better for me to keep this hand, try and find a blue source? Or is it better for me to ship and go to 5? I'll try and keep this hand. I'm not exactly confident. Maybe a card like Spell Pierce should go. Let's see. What if I bottom Preordain? If I bottom Preordain, if I find the first land, I should be fine. So maybe that's decent. Okay, let's try and bottom Preordain and see what happens. This might be not the best game, but I think it's kind of reasonable on the draw to play like this. Try and find a blue source before it's over. Looted Delta. So I'm thinking Esper right away. All right. No land. Force Negation, is probably a bad draw. Generally against Yorion, I would expect a ton of like ETB stuff. Okay, so Grixis Yorion, probably. So what are we looking at here? Strix, Trainers, Wizards type stuff? Bowmasters? Okay, I like that. All right. No Landes. So Not much to say here. I think I'm up against some kind of Grixis deck with red in it. So I probably like these cards, right? Is that deck going to be super creature centric? I would guess so. Stern Scolding. I actually like. I'm just gonna answer Brian here. All right. So let's try and finish sideboarding here. So maybe something like the priests can go. Yeah, we're just discussing whether this match should make the cut or not. But I mean, this is a real question. If this is how I would have played, if I was playing for stakes, and yeah, that's how I would play. So it's certainly realistic of what I would do in a tournament for whatever that's worth. Maybe these consigns can go. Keeping all of the removal, keeping the hounds. Teferi's good. I think this is decent. All right, let's see if we can play Magic. All right, let's see if we can get a game out of this. That would be the most fun. Let's put it that way. It's funny, the mountain. The mountain is the absolute worst, the worst land in the deck, right? I guess a plains would be the same thing. Brian is finishing sideboarding here against, to be fair, Mountain Pass, right? It's I don't think it's that realistic that he, predicts that he's even up against his own creation, which is really funny that that's the case. All right, I'll be on the play here for game 2. Let's see if we can find a blue source to play the game. All right, this is great. And we can now play the game. So let's see. I should probably brainstorm turn 2. Maybe something like the Arid Mesa is decent turn 1 here. Then I go end step, fetch Travail, untap, brainstorm. That should be good. All right, Underground Sea. Guess I spell Pierce. So what am I fetching here? I want to cast Pyroblast later. So maybe I just go Tundra here. Here's the Thoughtseize, not gonna fight any further. And now I think because I played Tamiyo, I fire Brainstorm right now. Oh wow. This is absolutely atrocious. What can I do about this? I can put back some terrible lands, and I can try and set up Surveil before my turn. Wow, yeah, this was so bad. I had a lot of good draws there, obviously. Here's Baleful Strix. I think I nailed my opponent's deck, and that deck is gonna absolutely demolish what I have going on here. Let's see. We need some good draws here to get into this game. Force a Will. Yeah, I think we need to get going here. So I guess my opponent's deck is some Kaito Trainer. That card is good. Something along those lines. Like Kaito, Bowmasters, Trainer, Flame of Anor, essentially just 80 card Grixis midrange. That sounds sweet. I guess just straight up better version than what I'm running here, like into each other, right? So here comes maybe Kaito. No Kaito. So there's a cool trick here. If Brian fetches before, I probably have to plow this a lot of the time. So when he doesn't have it, he should consider that. you can like get a plow out of my hand and on a bad creature essentially. There's Ponder. Here's Brainstorm. Yep, that works. That is a bit unfortunate. I needed my Brainstorm to sculpt me into good stuff, but not really the case here. Basic Island, and another Ponder. Okay, so I have some insane draws like Quantum Riddler especially. I'm trying to understand if I need to kill this, but I actually don't think... I think it's fine to kill with a Prismatic Ending, but I don't think it's fine to kill with Plow, essentially. Preordain. Okay, so maybe I go... Fetch. Preordain. Quantum Riddler. Very nice. So I probably need this Preordain as well. So I go... let's see. Play that. Warp. Draw. Attack. Blink. Draw another card. At the end of turn. So now I can go... Probably shouldn't do anything here, to be honest. I should probably just draw... sorry, get... Yeah, so get this back, essentially. Draw. Draw into a land. That's not atrocious. Preordain is my force fodder. So Felia plus Quantum Riddler kind of flipped this around. And now we might also see a case where Brian had no reason to bring in... what's the card I'm thinking about? Pyroblast, right? Based on what he saw. That is a shuffle. And here comes some sort of play. Hymn to Torok. Love to see that card. This looks like Brian holding up Pyroblast, but I'm not sure that's the case. So let's think. Should I plow that in response? No, this is fine. Okay, I keep my Force Pitch. That's pretty decent. So now I think I untap because I play Pyroblast, so if I've, you know, fire plow end of turn, I lose some color flexibility. Okay, this is pretty good. So now let's go plow onto the Strix. So now let's see what happens. I can actually flip my Tameo here. So would I rather draw a card or would I get in for damage? I think I would rather draw a card. So let's try and move to combat. I will blink that card. So now the dock becomes a 4/4 end of turn, which is pretty darn good. I think I just play Tameo here. So let's see. If I cast this Preordain, the Riddler comes back, and I can draw 2 cards if I hit a 1-drop here. Maybe that's decent. I guess I'll just pass. I really don't want to break here. So Riddler's back. I draw a card. That's a plow. There's a little bit about optimizing the Riddler here that I'm not entirely sure about, but I mean, I do love most of what's going on here. All right, the opponent is trying to clear my hand here. I think I accept that. Force blue card with plow here is quite decent. Not going to complain about this spot. I think it was quite lucky that I found Felia into Quantum Riddler. Otherwise, we wouldn't really have a game here. So let's see what the opponent is trying to power through. Could just be put Yori onto hand. Dak Faden. Okay, so let's see. Dak Faden? What is that good against? I mean, you got it. So now the opponent gets to keep the best card. That is not Lightning Bolt. Let's see. Land. So maybe what if I fetch here, go for Volcanic? I guess fetch here. Fetch. And now I draw 2. Okay, so I guess that's bad. Okay. Yeah, that is bad. Okay, so I guess now I'm flipping my Tamiyo in my first main phase here. Okay, Magic is a tough game. Yeah, I mean, we're done here. Okay. So I got game 2. I was lucky to get going there. I actually thought I was done for. I did see Prismatic Vista out of my opponent's mana base, so it's actually a responsible mana base that's not going to fold to. Back to basics, right? So if that deck is actually like Bowmasters, Strix, ton of that stuff, it's very possible that I need something else than Force of Will. How about a couple of Wrath of the Skies alongside 2 Priests? Is that decent? It doesn't seem that bad. Also, it's a way to get back from weird board states, and Force of Will seems quite bad against the Thoughtseize Hymn Control Mirror. Alright, we try again. Now Brian gets to add Pyroblast, which he couldn't do before, because all he saw was a mountain, right? And so while that was an advantage for game 2, it was only an advantage because I lost game 1 without doing anything. So now I'm on the draw for the third game. So it's merely just a, you know, I don't even know what you call it, like caveat, I think is the word, right? It's not like a good thing. It's only a contextually good thing because it's slightly better than the alternative. So I actually like all of my 1-mana situational counters here. They can counter some decent stuff. Dak Faden as well. That's kind of cool. So I guess Dak Faden is... Am I up against a Hull Breacher deck? Yeah, there's some stuff going on that I'm not entirely sure about. But that's the beauty of this, right? You have to dissect what's going on and then, you know, make your best play. All right, it's time for game 3 here. Bosh will be playing first, which I don't think is that big of a deal unless he has some Kaito curve, I guess. All right, this is decent. I have Tamiyo coverage. I have a couple of lands. I might have some potential for later when it comes to Containment Priest. So let's cast Preordain. I was about to say, I doubt I'm getting Spell Pierced. I'm actually going to get rid of both of these. I think it's better to just dig for like a natural land because I want to cast Priest next turn and hit my 3rd land drop. So sometimes you have to bottom cantrips in those games. Here's Baleful Strix. That card is very annoying. Let's see what I can draw here. Another Plains. So that means I do have Priest into, you know, into Teferi, I guess, which is a must counter. So what's the downside? The downside is I'm getting Kaito'd on this turn. If I was actually worried about that, I probably would have ended the Strix. Okay. Brian with the no attack here. I do like that. That's a solid play. Here's Containment Priest. Here's Quantum Riddler. Does that do anything right now? I think I should slam this Teferi. Let's see if there's a Pyroblast waiting or just a Bowmaster. That's kind of the 2 cards on my radar here. If I get forced, I'm very happy. Okay, Orcish Bowmaster it is. So now I think my move is going to be just plus the Teferi. It could still get Pyroblasted, though. I will say that. It does not. So now, let's just pass. Not in the market to trade for the Strix just yet. So there's some fun synergies here, because now my failure can kill my opponent's stuff, but now I cannot failure my own stuff. That type of deal. Let's see, can I keep the Riddler in play if I go a warp and then I dress down afterwards? I would need another blue source. I would think that works. Let's see if the opponent finds the Pyroblast to break free rather. Kaito would be very, very annoying. Okay, so here's a Bowmaster pinging, and then the opponent can attack with a 2/2. That's pretty good. And that one, I guess. Okay. So let's see. What happens if I trade for the 2/2? I should probably do that. Well, let's try and trade for the 2/2. Take one onto the fairy, kind of keep it in play. Let's see if we can spike a blue land here. I can't. That is a straight up brick. So what happens if I go... Probably just have to kill these Bowmasters. Probably just have to kill these Bowmasters the old-fashioned way here. And then kind of unlock my hand. I think that's how I play. So I pass here. I have instant speed, prismatic ending available. I have Swords to Plowshares. And I guess... Oh, wow. That makes a lot of sense, actually. Because he's scared of another priest or dog. I didn't even think about that. Okay, that's amazing for me. So, yeah. That takes a single damage. Still no Kaito in the mix. I like that a lot. Kaito would crush me here. So what is this? Basic Mountain? No. Another Strix. Strix is super annoying. Is this where I fire the dress down? Maybe it is. Maybe it is. So Strix draws a card. Let's try to understand this. Strix draws a card. That's annoying. What I can do here is... Also, the dress down might be insane later against Yorion. But I should probably count on having Pyroblast at that point. Okay. I will bite. I will dress down now to prevent the draw, to get myself going a little bit here. Then I will plow a Bowmaster end of turn. I actually forgot about my opponent's land drop. Oh, the Vista was already in play. Oh, shoot. Okay, I could be in trouble now. No, Narset. Holy smokes. Okay, that is a good one that I will probably have to kill. Okay, Narset is amazing. Thoughtseize. Plow a Bowmaster. I get the turn. Okay. So now I guess I kill the Narset. Kill the Narset. And pass. Kill the Bowmaster in response to Thoughtseize. Yeah, I'm kind of in trouble here because the opponent can put Yorion to hand. And I'm now out of Pyroblast. So I might have to hold up Dress Down for that turn, which the opponent can stop if they want to. So I'm trying to break. Yeah, that's a good one. And now put Yorion to hand. Oh, shoot. More Narset. That is insane against this matchup. That's probably going to be too hard for me to beat. Go for the throat. So the opponent has some questionable removal in the deck. That makes a lot of sense. So Narset in play. The opponent has go for the throat. Probably can't win this game, but I think I have to slam Quantum Riddler. Draw. Draw. Negate it. By Narset. Holding the fort with a couple of Baleful Strix. Go for the throat. Known card. The fairy getting attacked. Narset keeps grinding here. Oh, wow. Okay. That's certainly gonna do it. Nice one. Brian takes down the first match here with the superior control deck. Let's see if we can do better in the next one. All right, getting ready for deck number 2. Here I have Boros Initiative, or Danish Initiative, as I like to call it. This is submitted by Dave, who has been known to cast initiative creatures across multiple Eternal formats. So what is it? What is this Boros Initiative deck trying to do? This initiative deck is trying to cast either Chalice, Archon, Fable, or even an initiative creature turn 1. And it's kind of, hopefully gets to play like 2 Haymaker spells, and that's going to be enough. What I really like about the deck is Cavern of Souls powering not only Caves of Chaos Adventure and Seasoned Engineer, but it's also powering Magus of the Moon, naming Human. So hopefully there are some free wins buried in all of this Chalice, Magus, Archon, jam some initiative creatures uncounterable pile. 4th Healingus, or essentially the flex slots in this deck. On a Chromox, it gives you both colors. It's a finisher if you're flooded. It's even solid. That's a solid 3-mana play to try and run away with the game. Let's see if we can find both the becoming the Monarch and gaining the initiative. That would be kind of cool. Sideboard has removal spells. Sideboard has insane Null Rod on legs that also stops creatures shenanigans. So this card is insane against like the Forge and the Nado strategies. Best possible card against Reanimator here, where Fair Macabre plus Pressure is such a good recipe for success, and then a couple of flutes against Assorted combo. All right, let's see how this Boros Initiative deck by Dave will fare. All right, second match here. I'm playing Boros Initiative. I'm down a match, and this hand looks great. It's a matter of how to slice it. So let's see. I can go turn 1 Chalice of the Void for 1, turn 2 Uncounterable Archon. That's probably what I'm supposed to do here. Since how Chromox works, I'm not able to do anything else on turn 1, right? Yeah, I think that's exactly what I need to do here. So I basically hope that the turn 1 Chalice is good. It may or may not be. Turn 1 Chalice of the Void. Hanging on to the Chromox. I hope that that's going to get cashed into a Fable at some point. I should actually reconsider. I'd probably just go Plains Archon, to be honest. Bloodstained Mire. Okay. Spirit Guide. Not bad, not bad. So I think the move is to get Archon going. That's kind of like the White Time Walk. Swamp in response. What does that mean? Getting Swamp in response. Okay. Voidwalker. That's pretty decent. Like, basic lanes, those are good. City of Traders. That is certainly not good. So now, in order to bypass the Archon's clause here, I have to play like this. And go Fable. Because if I play Chromox, I don't have a spell. Archon gets going here. And against what could either be the mono black deck that I played a few episodes ago, or some... No, it's not a Puck style deck, because then, you wouldn't play a random creature that just dies. To be honest, I would probably be pretty bad just against a random Baragoyf deck here, which is not ideal. So I kind of like my chances if my opponent doesn't have anything here. I failed to cash in the white time walk last turn because the opponent had a basic land, right? Ooh, him to Torque. That's actually decent because of Fable. So thankfully for me, I only have bad cards in hand. I guess the opponent already knew that because I would have played out, you know, better stuff. So I'm getting attack for 3 here. So now I guess it's time for me to draw exactly that card. Yep, that's certainly gonna be valuable. So I'm not gonna use it because I drew the perfect card. And I think what I should do here is use the treasure rather than take more damage. Here's Seasoned Dungeoneer. Trying to think about which land to fetch up here, since Solitude would be such a good draw. But maybe I'm supposed to hedge a little here and go Mountain. I think that's decent. I don't think I should play the Mountain, though. All right, let's pass. So let's see if this gets interesting now. The opponent needs kind of a good play because I have evasive damage here. But bad things could happen. I'm not out of the woods here. Voidwalker is very, very strong. Yeah, I'm going out of 10 here. The opponent will go get a basic swamp, and then it's kind of up to... Let's see what Brian can do here. A lot of cards will be scary from this spot on. There's basic swamp. Love to see him to Torque 2 matches in a row, by the way. That is one of my favorite cards. The problem with him in Modern Legacy is that 2 mana not impact the board. You know, if the opponent's then just on board with a Tameo or whatever, it doesn't really do a whole lot. So, but if you can kind of play that in a situation that isn't getting out of hand, that's what you love to see. Ooh, okay. So I guess I could have predicted this. And now Brian is considering if wastelanding is the move. Okay. So now let's try and understand the move here. I think I'm supposed to attack with Archon and Seasoned Dungeoneer and then turn the Goblin into a 4/4. Let's see how that works. Archon, Seasoned Dungeoneer. Yes, graveyard it, please. Attack for 6. Put 2 counters on the Shaman. The point about that is now the Shaman actually trades for Baragoyf. And the opponent will need 2 mana removal to get past it. So let's see. Maybe I should just play out a Naked Chrome Mox here as my spell. Because if I get it discarded, it actually... No, it doesn't grow the Baragoyf. Okay, so I guess I overthought that. Because of Voidwalker, right? So it's kind of hard for Brian to grow the Baragoyf. Swamp number 5. So I guess 1 mana spells will grow the Baragoyf. Let's see if Brian can find a line that puts creature and instant in the graveyard. If that happens, I think I have to double block. Then Brian will go to 11 and still be dead exactly, I think, because of 6 damage plus 5 drains. Okay, Voidwalker getting in there. Brian can now put 2 counters. And since he hasn't conceded, there's certainly something going on here. Orcish Bowmasters. Obviously doing nothing here. So now I have to understand how do I lose this game? I lose this game if my opponent has a removal spell, a 2-mana removal spell. So what happens if I just attack with Dungeoneer and Archon? I think I'm golden then. Because then I can, if the opponent has a 2-mana removal, I can make a copy of Seasoned Dungeoneer and trap my opponent. Yeah, so I think if I attack with those two, I should be good. So now I beat a 2-mana removal spell. Even, like, let's say Brian's favorite card, go for the throat onto this one, right? Then I just make a copy, drain for 5, get in for 2. Okay. I got game 1 against Mono Black. I'm just going to bring in removal spells here. I think that's awesome. So let's see. When I'm on the draw, I guess Magus of the Moon is just the easy cut here. Magus of the Moon is the easy cut. And then I need to cut one more card with my sideboard playing here. It's probably going to be Chalice. To be honest, Chalice is not that great. Chalice, I'm sure, can stop some fatal pushes and stuff. But yeah, on the draw is actually quite bad. Do I think Disruptor Fluting Baragoyf is better? I don't know. Let's try it. Single Chalice or single Magus? Maybe it's just single Magus. Yeah, I'm sure this is going to be fine. I think this is basically a race between, you know, Brian's like slow and steady wins the race, and I'm more explosive, so I have to get out of, get a good start here. So this deck is very capable of turn 1 initiative creature. The problem is, with Brian on the play and Thoughtseize being a magic card, I don't have full faith. So this is probably just about keeping almost any 7 and then, you know, take it from there. Last game I was kind of lucky to be, you know, play first, Chalice to kind of buy a turn, Archon to buy a turn, and then find a 4-drop before Brian was in the game. I guess he had a Voidwalker, but, you know, you get the point. I actually like the archetype that Brian is bringing here. I think that deck is super good as long as the graveyard is a big part of the field, right? When you get mileage out of your Voidwalkers, I think that's amazing. All right, we're on the draw here, Danish initiative, and I have a pretty sweet hand here. I guess it's gonna get, you know, torn to shreds, but this is a pretty sweet hand. I guess let's see. So I'm hoping for some 1-drop creature. And we're getting Thoughtseized. So now the opponent can take my Chrome Mox and hope to get lucky on my draws. Let's see. Yeah, the opponent takes Chrome Mox. What am I going to do? I draw Plains. That's probably a decent draw. Do I play Plains here? I think maybe Plains is solid. So if I have a red lane on top, I cannot go Fable. Okay, I'll go Plains here and try and build a little bit of consistent mana. Because I'm very scared of getting wastelanded, I must say. Let's see what Bosh is up to here. Give him to Torok, maybe. Okay, so right now I'm thinking Orcish Bowmasters, which is not the end of the world at all. Cecil, okay, 2/3, Death Touch, that's solid. I draw another Archon. I guess let's play Archon here. So what was that? Did Brian have the choice between him to Torok or... Okay, now we have to read cards. Never mind. Menace Lifelink. Whenever a knight... Wait a minute. Okay. Whenever a knight you control use combat damage to a player, you grow that and get a blood token. So that is essentially a Lord type of card. So that resolves, and then I'm gonna kill that before, so like this. So let's see, what does this do? Okay, so basically Solitude here. Now I have a decision to make. I think I'm pitching Archon. I think it's better for me to hope to get a red source in this game than to just play out another 2/3. So let's Solitude the Lord. And I'll take the damage, and the plan is to draw a red source. I didn't draw a red source. I did draw that one, though. That was not bad. I was solid, so maybe I just go human here. Uh-huh. Human. No plays. And attack. So, should probably kill that Cecil. But Baragov is also around the corner, so maybe I take the damage here. I think if the opponent goes to 10, I'm in trouble, so maybe this is fine. Trade a little bit of damage here. The opponent passes, so that means no Baragov. The opponent has a weird hand here. I'm thinking Orcish Bowmasters. I don't think I have to kill anything here. Draw Caracas. Is this legendary? That is legendary. Okay, that's probably not bad. Attack with Archon. Here comes a knight, I bet. Okay. So that card gets killed, sure. And pass. So now I'm not going to get hit by this card. I'm just going to bounce it. And I'm still hoping to draw a red source so I can get things going with fourth Eolingus. This is pretty good for me, I think, because if I draw a red source, I can tap everything except one and then plow. So that card works. Okay, so the opponent has a lot of 3-drops in hand. Red source? Not a red source. Huh. So, yes, we pass. Should I plow that card or start taking the damage? I think since the card is actually very good against my Eolingus tokens, I think it's all right to plow it. It's not that I love it, but I think it's all right. The opponent knows about fourth Eolingus in my hand. Passing the turn, what does that mean? They actually have something to spend 4 mana on? Or they just don't bother playing into Caracas, I guess. All right. So I guess we try and go for it here with a big Eolingus. And then another one next turn. Fourth Eolingus. 4 horses. And now, do I stay back with something? Could do that. If the opponent has 3 removal spells, does that make sense? Do you have 3 removal spells, Brian? Really? Let's send everybody. The plan is to do the same next turn and kind of slam home the game here. Let's see. I have to sacrifice a token. Maybe one more of those? Bowmaster, block. Sure. So there's a block, I would guess. No, maybe not. Okay, I guess Brian can take the damage here and then grow this army and then kill me with the end step draw. Okay, that's good. So let's see. Am I beating a Baragov? I think that's going to be the difference maker here. Whether Brian has Baragov or not. Feed the Swarm. That's really cool. Bowmaster getting in there. Cecil. That is a Death Toucher, not a Lifelinker. Now Brian has 2 blockers. So let's try and do the count here. I think I just win if I go Ancient Tomb. Let's do that. Let's play another 4th here. Double 4th Eolingus. It's been a while, if ever, that I've done this. Double 4th Eolingus. I guess we were both playing the knights here. All right, Boris Initiative takes this one down, and yeah, we're off to the 3rd one. All right, last up we have Simic Infect here, submitted by Brad. Brad has been known to love infect creatures, and I must say I haven't really played with these cards in ages, and some cards I haven't even played with, so I actually have to give some cards a read here. Let's give this one a read. Until end of turn, target non-brushwhack creature gets +1/+1 super type, card type, and subtype it has. So let's try and understand what that even means. Is this a creature elf Correction Warrior, so +4/+4? And what about this one? Land creature Correction Blink Moth, so it's a +4 on all my guys, I would guess. Okay, I guess that should be cool to find out. I know Berserk, I know Invigorate, and then I have to give this one a read. Legolas's Quick Reflexes, split second. On-tap target creature until end of turn against hexproof, reach, and whenever it becomes tapped, it deals damage equal to its power for up to... Okay, so this is like a Vines of the Vastwood that can also act as like a removal spell. Let's say I get in for 5 with Embiggen, I can kill a creature. That's pretty interesting. Okay, so I guess I should just see that as a protection spell that can potentially do something else. So yeah, Infect is trying to be this aggro deck that gets the job done via Infect creatures and poison damage. We have 12 Infect creatures, I believe. Yeah, 12 of those for Noble Hierarchs. We have cantrips, we have forces, we have days. Okay, so this is somewhat of a consistent and stable deck. I did add another land to the deck, and I moved my Tamios to the sideboard. This deck follows the same pattern as the initiative deck with 5 removal spells in the sideboard, grind elements, anti-graveyard hate, disenchants, and then I guess just cards against Thoughtseize, Fatal Push, that kind of shenanigans. So playing Infect will be fun. Let's see how it goes for you, Brad. Last round, I'm playing Simic Infect, and this hand looks quite good. Turn 1 Noble, turn 2 Protected Agent, and then I'm 1 pump spell away from winning the game. That's not bad. This hand is bad against combo, it's bad against Chalice. Let's see how that works out. Another Noble. Noble Hierarch off a Forest, so the opponent will be thinking Nadu, I bet. Which I don't mind. Let's see. Basic Island, pass, no play. Okay, here's Tundra, so I guess protecting from Wasteland is very serviceable. Plow, got it. So now I have to understand if I want speed or I want resiliency. I think I want resiliency here. So let me go cast Ponder, hopefully find some good ones. Yeah, these are pretty good, I will say that. So maybe this Berserk is bad, but the rest are good. And then I go Noble, pass. So let's see. Reflexes, pump Berserk. That's kind of GG's, right? So I need to resolve this agent, and I should be in great shape. Opponent passes here. Am I getting set up by Hull Breacher once again? Could very well be. Let's see here. So what if I go Ink Moth? What if I go like this? Let's see. Blighted Agent like this. Play Ink Moth. Okay, let's try that. I basically want my opponent to force to will that card so I can play the land and still do my thing. Let's see what this is. Intuition. I'm scared now. I'm scared now, Brian. What did you cook up? What did you cook up, my friend? Also, I'm drawing a redundant Berserk now. I didn't think about that, but I wanted to deploy the Nexus. That was more important, but I should have thought about it. Oh, wow. These cards, eh? What on earth? So let's try and understand what this is. Is this some replenish shenanigans? So I should actually give my opponent the... Wait a minute. I should give my opponent... So do I have lethal through this card? I think I do. Okay, so I make sure that my opponent gets Parallax Tide into the hand. That exiles lands. Okay, let's try. Let's see if I'm right about this. I don't want to give, like, this is some replenish deck. So what happens if the opponent casts replenish? Oh, I think I messed it up. Okay, here's Parallax away from hand. So now, yeah, this works. So this is well played by the opponent, because if I give it, like, if I reflex it now, it doesn't win, right? So now let's see if this works like I think it works. Right, so play land. Turn this Nexus into a creature. Reflex. The opponent takes away Exalted. That's a good one. What is this? Oh, okay. So that's the reflexes thing. So now let's see. Cast this only before the combat step. So that would be now, for example. Okay. So we got there with infect damage against... This looks super scary. So let's see. Does Veil of Summer counter Intuition? Target upon... I think it does. I think Veil of Summer is a 1-mana cryptic command against Intuition. Do I want my Tamios against that deck? Do I want my Vigors? It's pretty funny. I'm kind of ready to rumble here with a bunch of stuff. I don't think I want my Tamios. I trust my combo plan. So now it's basically these cards. So let's see. I imagine these will be quite good against the 4-drops. Force of Will. Maybe the Force of Will has to go, and these are just more efficient at stopping some of the same cards, and I keep my core. I'm gonna try that. Maybe I can cut a land against that deck that doesn't touch my mana, but then that lets me keep 1 Force of Will in the deck. I don't think that's a huge deal, but I guess I can freely cut the Savannah for a single force. All right, lucky force. Let's go. All right, these cards are quite strong. I'm not gonna lie. This looks like a turn 3 kill with, you know, non-plow. Backup for non-plow. Let me put it that way. I fear that Brian might have some nasty enchantments in the sideboard, though. Something like, I don't know. I was about to say Energy Field, but I guess that doesn't work. Blighted Agent is a really, really sick draw, because now I get to, first of all, smoke screen my opponent with this Noble, and if it gets killed, you know, I get to play 2 infant creatures next turn, essentially. If it doesn't get killed, then, you know, I have mana to start, you know, protecting my stuff. Okay, Tundra pass. Brian thinking a little bit, having a good think there on whether to kill the Hierarch or not. So let's see. If I go Nexus Blighted Agent, I don't think I want to attack for 1. I feel like this is a decent play. Let's try and play Blighted Agent. Counter Spell. That's probably a card I should fail. Pretty good exchange here. Cryptic Commanding. Force the Veil. Let's go, Brian. Okay, so Blighted Agent dealt with. And I now have a Nexus, which I can present lethal with. Ooh, never mind. Stand still. Love to see it. Stand still, kill my Nexus. That is cool. So now I'm basically digging for another... Oh my god. Okay, I'm a legend of the game. That is insane. I was about to say I was digging for another Nexus, but I guess I didn't have to. So now, how do I win this game? I think I win this game by attacking for 2 Infect. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Did I just win? If I cast a split-second spell, Standstill gets cracked. I think I just won. Sheesh. I wish I knew the rules here. Okay. We're gonna go for it here. I think that's reasonable. Reflexes. Maybe this is just not smart. Yeah, I'm not sure what I'm doing here. I'm actually not sure what I'm doing here because my opponent can counter. Yeah, I don't like this. I don't think I'm doing anything smart here. Exalted. Let's go for that one. Let's invigorate. Let's see. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what I'm doing here, to be honest. I don't think this is good play. I should have just kept attacking for 2 here. For some reason, I don't know what I thought. I guess I thought my opponent couldn't cast anything. Okay, so I end up getting forced. I end up in a lot of very bad place compared to just, riding it out with attacking for 2 each turn. The opponent keeps a card, and I look to be in trouble. Very deserved trouble. I'll put it that way. Another reflex, eh? So Nexus. This does smell like a blocker. I don't know why. Is this Venser? Shark Typhoon. So let's see. Until in a turn, hexproof, reach, tapped. I don't think this works. Yeah, I think I'm just losing this game for no reason. So right now, I could deal it 1 damage. That doesn't make any sense. All right. That's why... that's why it's fun playing with new cards. Like, playing atrociously bad is a sport. So let's get rid of that card. Yeah, that was not a good play because any counterspell my opponent finds on a standstill will crush me. That's a good one. Opponent bounces. That makes a lot of sense. Opponent gets a little bit of a breather here. I guess I'll hold the land. Yep. The fairy ticking up. So that deck... Okay, so that's cool. So if your opponent plays Replenish, you can kind of get Shark Typhoon back. I think that's sick. Yeah, not my finest moment here, but that's part of why we're here. We're here to make fun things happen, like terrible misplays or oversights or whatever you want to call it. I think in my mind this card was like a silence or something, but that's because when I played it game 1, game 1, Brian was tapped out, right? So maybe I even missed it there, what it actually did. So let's see. Brian Drews draws those cards. Excuse me. So I guess I play a land and I attack the Teferi. I think that's decent. Okay, that gets plowed in response. Tight play. So I'm waiting for the end step replenish. I want to see that. No end step replenish. That would seal the deal, though. Getting back Shark Typhoon. Okay, okay. Let's go to game 3. So I'm forcing a game 3 here out of for value. Okay, so I guess with the new information, I can probably go like this at the Tamios. I think that's pretty good. All right. Let's try and play a little bit better and actually have a grip about what the cards do. That should yield better results. So I think what I'm supposed to do there is keep attacking until Brian shows something that can, you know, get rid of the Nexus. Whether that, at that point, I didn't think about Shark Typhoon. I thought about Wasteland. And if that happens, we take it from there. I think that's the move. I was doing great. The opponent has so many bad cards. Any removal spell, any cantrip, any counter spell. Like, all of those are just so bad draws. So essentially, by playing like this, I played into my opponent's plan. And I deservedly lost. So in that game, if I actually go for the patient route and realize that Legolas's quick reflexes is not a silence or arms chant, then I think once the Shark Typhoon gets cycled, I'm forced into doing something. So that's what I intend to do next time. All right, this hand looks awesome. We have turn 1 Elf, turn 2 Agent. That's a lot of stuff that Brian has to worry about. Backed up by days, even. So let's go Glistener Elf. And now the question becomes, do I get in for extra infect damage while I can? Is that a strategy? Another reflex. So what happens now if I go attack for 1? That's probably how I'm supposed to play. What happens if Brian plows it? I think I'm just supposed to accept it and then play Agent. Get in for 1 infect. Fetch another chop. Play Agent. If I get forced, it's annoying. If I get plowed end of turn, yeah, okay. Intuition hits the bin. I think it's better for me to have days for something later. Brian has showed plenty of, like, even 4 drops, but yeah, 2s and 3s. So, oh wow, Brian got around days and around the reflex. That was really smooth. Okay, that was insane. I didn't expect that. Well played by Brian here. Playing around days on turn 1. Yeah, that's masterfully played. Love it. Playing this land to pay around days. That's exactly how you beat seemingly unbeatable infect draw, right? Take 1, take their permission out of the equation, and then try and win. I guess that draw was insane, huh? That draw was insane, so maybe I'm just right back in it now. But anyway, that doesn't take away from Brian's amazing amazing play. Let's see, Containment Priest. Why did Brian bring in that card? Let's try and find out. So I could have dazed that card, but I think this is fine. So now comes the little bit of irony here, where if you're getting if you're playing around days on the first turns, but you're getting dazed on turn 4, then, you know, it's kind of questionable. So now the priest is... Wait a minute. I think I'm winning here. I need to understand these cards. Yeah, so I go reflexes. I go invigorate. And I go Berserk, I guess. And then I kill the blocker and attack. Now that was a weird match. So we end up taking it down here with Infect after Brian played like an absolute master, and I just magically find my third Infect creature. I mean, that's sometimes how it goes. Yeah, that was a cool set. Let's break it down in the post game. All right, it's time for a recap here of the basement battle. I believe this was our third go at it, I think. Yeah, third one. And we plan to do more in the future here. And just to remind everybody, we're trying to line up Brian's members decks versus my members decks. And this one, I threw a little bit of a curveball here because I played a deck that might seem a little bit familiar to you in the first round. It was from a guy named Brian who I believe took it to a paper tournament the previous weekend.
Sorry, my camera's going nuts, but okay. All right, I'm back.
Looks like you're there.
Okay.
Maybe you should talk to me a little bit about that deck because it was suggested to me and I tweaked it just a tiny bit, but it was staying true to your idea at least.
Yeah, the game one just like mountain concede was certainly like, you know, what just happened there. And yeah. I put you on Ruby Storm because, you know, that's a deck that would keep a speculative hand, doesn't really want to mulligan low, has a basic mountain in it, and then so it was a really smart concession to hide that. I just had in all of my graveyard hate, combo hate, whatever in my hand, and then you're
and like, no Pyroblast, right?
Yeah, no Pyroblast. Most of the removal was out. I left in my bolts because they can go face, but you know how it is. And then having the Tundra Spell Pierce on my turn one Thoughtseize in game 2, I was like, oh, we've been tricked. And
it was even the Arid Mesa there. I had like 2 Flooded Strands and Arid Mesa, and I was like, let's play out the Arid Mesa to sell it even more, and then maybe we can catch something here. It was just a little bit of a good fun. But I think the biggest advantage is you would have 0 Pyroblast in the deck, and the cards you would bring in would probably miss, right? It's like that kind of a concession here. So I have chat visible on my end, so you know we talked about should we restart or not. But I think you asked the right question here. Would I keep this hand if we're playing for actual stakes? And the answer is yes. I don't want to go to 5 here. I think it's better if I find a land in like top 2 and I'm in business. So yeah, that was you know, you want to have good games, but at least there was a little bit of storytelling and kind of you know, trap you a little bit for game 2 going on. But yeah, I loved your deck because I just played a lot of Modern recently, and the Quantum Riddler is a pretty cool card. So I love your list, and I just basically added a little bit of red to it, like for Pyroblast and a little better prismatic endings. And I, you know, changed a few cards around, but it was very true to your list, and it was cool to play. I was not happy to see the Yorion though. You didn't play the Wizards package, did you? Like Trainers and Flames or whatever?
No, this deck is called Leopile. One of my Patreon subscribers named Leo. He's been in my community for years, and nice. That's just his deck. He plays it everywhere. He tunes when the meta changes, when new sets come out, and it's just affectionately called Leopile. And I've played it on the channel a few times through full leagues. I even trophied with it a couple of years ago. That was a fun run. It's just all the good cards you want to cast in Grixis, plus Yorion at the helm. It's a fun deck.
I actually think Yorion is a little bit underexplored. I feel like frequently you can get to, I usually use the terminology ratio, like the correct ratio of certain cards. Like you can play a bunch of forces. A lot of cards are like, you know, cantrips are, you know, whatever. If you add a few preordains to round it out, like it doesn't hurt your deck, right? There's a lot of this going on. I actually feel like it's a little bit underexplored. But I guess if the format calls for more grindy games, like the matchup in round 1 here, then we're really cooking. But yeah, I was sad to see that one. I knew you had me covered.
Yeah, Yorion is always just what you don't want to see in mid-range hell, because they're just going to go longer. The mid-range wars end at Yorion, and when I thought you were Ruby Storm, I was like, how are we going to do this? And then even though I was completely on the wrong foot for game 2 and lost quickly, I was still pretty happy with my setup going into game 3.
Yeah, and I actually had to get super lucky with, like, I had a terrible brainstorm where I basically only had white removal and a naked force, and then I was super lucky to hit the Philia into Riddler, and then it just looked like I won in dominant fashion. But from my side, I thought I was doing terribly up until those 2 exact draws. So, but yeah, and then from there, we all know what happens when those guys connect. I think I even messed up a little bit with like when to like empty my hand, and there's a little bit of, I think I could have played a little bit more optimal in that game. Something I wanted to ask you about that game is when you attack with Strix on turn 3 and you did not crack your Prismatic Vista. That was just some Kaito bluff there that I was like, oh, should I plow this Bowmaster? It's just a really cool trick that I think you can actually get a lot of people to plow like small. No, it was a Strix, sorry, not Bowmaster. It was a Strix.
Yeah.
So did you put any thought into that?
Yeah, the attack was like playing my land pre-combat was obviously a Kaito bluff. I was not on the level of fetch after blocks. Like as soon as you didn't do anything into blocks, I was like, okay, you didn't fall for it, and I just moved on. But yeah, I think the fetch would have baited your.
I actually think
removal.
if you fetch there, you will get a lot of people to jump the chair, because especially in a matchup like this.
Yep. Yeah, that's a great look. And when I'm flying by the seat of my pants playing these silly decks in like a silly situation, so I'm usually trying to even remember what's in my deck. And
well, yes, for sure.
We'll talk about it coming up soon, but I also just like threw game 1 in our third match, but we'll talk to that when we get there. So there was some sloppy play here.
Certainly. So you end up taking down match 1, and I had my Boros Initiative deck, and since we alternate play draw, that was kind of good news for my Chalice deck, right? So I believe I lead on Chalice into Archon, and then I'm lucky to get the Initiative creature after you hymned me. That's from your POV. Let's see, what did you have going on there? Did you played, what did you play turn 1? Cecil? No.
No, guys, you had Chalice. My hand was just like 2 swamps, Bowmaster, Voidwalker, Barrogoyf, Exsanguinator Cavalry. It was just like the spread. Like I didn't care about Archon, I didn't care about Chalice, I didn't care about the possibility of Blood Moon. There were so many things I didn't care about there, and like that deck just has 4 Barrogoyfs in the main, which is what I would like to do against a deck like yours out of the sideboard, and I'm set up for it. And it did come down to, I think, 1 life point at the end. I had the removal spell. No, you played it correctly, but like if I have the removal spell that loses 2 life, and I'm at 7, and you're about to go into the dungeon that deals 5 to me. So there was I was just locked. I think maybe I'm supposed to attack with Barrogoyf on that last turn and just gain 2 life. And
yes, because then the math is more complicated for me, right? Because I won because Archon is 2 and the trap is 5. So I didn't have to activate. You didn't even put me into the sweat here. I could actually just play it safe.
Yeah, and you had the Fable, and like if you, I mean, you're a strong player, so I don't expect you to do this, but a lot of people just get excited and they're like, I'm going to copy Seasoned Dungeoneer pre-combat, attack for 1 million, and you had it won without that. And if I make a move of any kind, you just copy your guy and I lose. So you
make a good point. You make a good point here. If you gain the life, then it's actually a tough decision. Here it was not a tough decision for me. So I guess that's just the learning here. So let's see. You hymn also some bad cards, and then I draw the perfect card. Like that's all with a Voidwalker in play.
Yeah,
that's
it was
what
unfortunate.
I want to see, right?
I was really hoping to put a Seasoned Engineer in the Void and get to be in charge of that part of the game.
I would have cast that already if that was in my hand, right?
Probably. Even like a Solitude would have been nice.
Solitude is a realistic one.
Yeah, there's some bangers in there, and you were going into a Fable Chapter 2, so just getting you empty also reduces your ability to move cards around. So it felt good, but it was just the worst 2 cards.
Yeah, the top card of my deck was Dungeoneer, and then I could win the race from there. So let's see. How do you bounce? I guess you don't even. I guess I also win game 2. Was that the double 4th Eligas game?
Yes. I fully stabilized. Like you had mana problems for a while. I fully stabilized and took the Monarch versus the first 4th, but you just had a second one, and that's all there was to it.
Yeah, I had 2 of those, and I was like, okay, this is a pretty good 1-2 punch. I actually considered staying back with 1 horse on that turn, but I thought it would just be, wouldn't have like a good comeback if I just hit for maximum. Even Bowmaster was somewhat obvious. You also played well there. You didn't block, but you finished it off with the end step draw that I had. That was just a cool play that I talked a little bit about from my POV, something that's easy to miss, I guess.
Right, and leaving a horse back doesn't even make sense. You have to leave back 2 if you don't want Bowmaster to kill the blocker. Like you should just, unless you're willing to deal just 4 damage and leave 2 back just to get the Monarch, then you're not beating
Yeah, but
Bowmaster
the
in that
problem
spot
is
anyway.
then I even lose to Bowmaster, one removal.
Right. Yep.
So, yes, well, lose, but I don't get the Monarch and all of that jazz. So I think I was priced into doing that, and I had a second one. I actually only played two, so it was just super random that those were like an accident waiting to happen whenever I found a red source in that game, right? Because you knew it from turn one, I believe.
Yep.
And so it was more like, yeah, you noticed I had mana problems. You tried to shut me out of the game. Also, the Caracas draw was pretty clutch. Like you were actually doing some good things with the Cecil. So I end up taking that one down. And then for match 3, I was playing Infect, and this is where we have to talk about reading the cards. I in the last when was it, game 3 or the standstill game? No, that was game 2. Oh, that was atrocious. But first things first. So let's see. Game 1. I'm trying to remember here. I think I just stumble into the kill where I make a decision on intuition where I end up. Which one? I'm giving you the one that kills lands, right?
Yeah, you're giving me the one that kills lands. I have replenish in my hand, so
right.
Like, if I replenish, I have infinite creature removal for the rest of the game. But I drew for
why so?
So Opalescence plus Parallax Wave, you put the exile all your creatures on the stack, then you exile Parallax Wave to itself, and then it comes back as a new Parallax Wave at 5 counters, and then the exile triggers from the first one resolve, and your permanents are just gone. So for the rest of the game, I have a 4/4 with 5 vanishing counters on it that can exile all your creatures permanently, and you can never touch it because I can flicker it out at will.
Okay, so how come you didn't cast Replenish?
Well, I just thought, like, what if you have Force of Will? What if you have Daze? I drew Parallax Wave for turn. I drew another Wave, and Wave is the one that I can clip your 2 creatures in play, and then you need Legolas's Quick Reflexes to do anything for the rest of the game. And I figured I'll lead on that one because it's just as good. And if you counter it, I'll cross my fingers and then replenish next turn, and then I definitely win. But
yeah, right. So it was more of a 1-2 punch rather than playing the best thing out first because of the fear of, I guess, exactly Force. I guess I Daze Intuition there a lot of the time. I cannot risk something weird coming out of it that you can pay for Daze, right?
Yeah, probably. So like Force of Will, I hadn't really tested your counter spells yet that game, and the wave is what I wanted anyway, and I just drew it, and I can wave your creatures for 1 turn and then replenish next turn and then go off. But I was busy like narrating and being surprised that my wave resolved, and I forgot to exile your Noble Hierarch, and then you got me for exact mana.
Yes, this is good, because I was about to say you played well because you activated the wave on your turn, but you only did it once, I guess.
I got rid of the creature, the threat, and then I was like, oh shit, this
could come
Hierarch,
back to bite you. Yeah,
like if you have Invigorate, it doesn't matter, but you had Berserk, and you used all of your mana to get to that point.
Yes.
So that one mana mattered a lot.
Yeah, for sure. So if you point at that, we have a totally different game, and then you probably bury me with that Replenish. So that's pretty cool. Game 2 is where a disaster class happened. I in my mind, the Legolas Quick Reflexes was also an arms chant. Also that. So when I play that card into your standstill, I'm like, oh, how does this work? He draws 3 and then he cannot respond? Is that how it works? Okay, look at me. But then I just realized, now I'm losing to counter spells, and I kind of turned on your deck. So at that point, I didn't know about the Shark Typhoon, so that collision might have happened a little bit later, and then I would have to do stuff, obviously. But that didn't feel good, breaking that standstill. How did that look from your side?
It was a disaster, like you said. Like I lined up, kill your creatures, have the Wasteland for Inkmoth, and I'm willing to roll the dice on an 18-turn clock versus Noble Hierarch with my standstill. But then you immediately have a second Inkmoth, which is a 5-turn clock instead of 18.
Yeah.
And then you just bust it. And my draw right after standstill was the other standstill. I only play 2, so I'm wasted. And you set me free, and then my brainstorm found the 3rd Force of Will of the game. So it was a miracle, but there was definitely some oops action in there.
I like my odds a lot better at attacking for 2 every turn instead of doing that. And then if you eventually cycle a Shark and I learn you play that card, I'll have to do something, right? So I basically just gave up percentages, and that can certainly cost you. So,
Right.
but this is also for entertainment. So we got a game 3 out of it where I think I have the nuts, but this is where you show the mastery. I play turn 1 Glistener Elf. I have Daze. I have double Legolas's Quick Reflexes. How can I possibly lose? You let it resolve, you play a land, and you pass. I attack for 1 poison, then I play my agent. You Force a Will, laugh at my Daze. You untap, play a land, you plow, you laugh at my Daze. So now I'm all dressed up but nowhere to go, and I luck out and draw a Glistener Elf for the anticlimactic finish.
Right.
That was so great. Like I'm gonna watch that from your POV. So how did it go? Like what was the logic here?
I mean, it's exactly what you said. I know you're a Daze deck. I know you're a Legolas's Quick Reflexes deck. And if I don't have to die to these cards, I'm not going to. And I can take 9 poison before I have to be worried. So if you chip shot for 1, that's not a reason to panic and Swords to Plowshares. Like, I'll take it. You could invigorate that. I'll take it. You could, like, I'm not going to plow into Daze until you have 10 poison coming my way. And
yeah,
it's just, it's not really challenging. Like, not to, not take credit when I make good plays, but if you've played a lot of Legacy and Daze, the Daze is a card. You just can stop losing to it if you want to.
Yeah, I also will say Infect kind of makes it quote unquote easier to make those plays, where normal Delver it's like, these 3 damage, they could end up mattering, right? But here we actually know that this deck runs out of gas. This deck is like, I have to invest pump spells and stuff like that. So maybe this play is easier to make against Infect because the Cushing you have to work with. I don't know. What do you feel about that? I guess you play more awkward into Daze against Delver than this deck on average.
I mean, this is the conversation over the last 6 years, right, of Modern Horizon sets. Like, what is that 1-drop creature doing? Because I'll take 6 from a Delver to make sure I don't lose to Daze. That's no problem. I can't let Ragavan ramp twice and flip 2 cards. I can't let Psychic Frog go nuts. I can't let Tameo flip. There's all these busted things that slot into the Daze shells that if I have 20 life to work with and I know what the clock is and know how many bolts you might play or how many pump spells you might play, we can just do the math and decide when it's time to go. It's pretty easy to navigate that, but when you're banking clues or threatening brainstorm or straight up drawing cards, it becomes really untenable.
Yeah, then things the sense of urgency is higher to simply just to get it over with, because the alternative is to like lose slowly and stuff like that. Right. That makes a lot of sense, and I think it's a good mindset to that. It's just so present in Legacy, right? Like you don't want to get dazed. And then there's some line to cross where, because you in this game you played a lot around Daze, and then I end up, I believe, dazing a Parallax Wave. Was that this game?
Yeah.
You played around Daze, and then you get dazed on turn 4. So there's also something to be set there. Obviously, the alternative is to die against this deck. So
right,
but that did look a little funny. And
I fed you the Containment Priest, trying to see if you would daze it, because you have one of the only threats in your deck that's actually blockable in play. And like I feed you the Priest, and maybe you're like, oh well, I can win next turn if I daze this. But you can win next turn even if you don't daze it, because you have the quick reflexes to kill it. So you just had me beat there, but like I could have played that Priest around Daze on the following turn and just tried to flash it in during combat or something like that. But
I like your play a lot, because you're actually baiting me a non-0% of the time to cash in that Daze, right?
Right. Like he's got 4 mana. Am I ever going to daze anything ever again? Maybe we take this out. Like that was intentional, and you didn't fall for it.
Yeah. That's just another good thing to highlight, right? That your good play can get countered by a better read and vice versa, right? That's just how level Magic works. And that was a sweet one. I also realized during sideboarding that Veil of Summer against the Intuition is 1-mana Cryptic Command, right?
Yeah, that's pretty rough.
I do remember some Gifts Ungiven shenanigans back in the day that got stopped by, what do I know, True Believer or some nonsense in Vintage that came up. So I wanted to fire off that one, but I guess I got to eat Force of Will instead, the Counterspell War. If I remember correctly, there was some, and it doesn't feel good to force a Veil, right? But you have to do it because the alternative is worse.
Yeah, of course. You just have to eat it, and versus Infect, so many of your cards don't work or don't matter if you don't have a poison threat in play. So I will put every card in my hand down to get that Glistener Elf off the board, because it's probably a mind twist as well for you until you unlock it with the next one.
Yeah, certainly. Yeah, I quite enjoyed this one. I think we keep getting interesting situations and then getting to talk them over here and highlight some good plays and some less good plays on both sides of the battlefield. It's the full experience over here. How confident are you for Eternal Weekend? Is that going to be your tournament?
Well, I feel really good. I have 2 decks I think I could win the tournament with in Legacy, and I have 3 decks I think I could win the tournament with in Vintage. Both formats I'm dialed in on, and obviously you have to show up, perform, have some good breaks on the day, but I've trophied my last 4 Vintage leagues in a row with 4 different decks. Yeah, I'm just I'm locked in. I feel good.
That's a good problem to have. Yeah, I'm excited to see what you end up bringing to the table. And around a month from now, we're going to be bringing more decks to the table as well here in another basement battle. I'm looking forward to these. Those are a highlight on my calendar, I must say.
Right. And since this video is going to turn around fast and be out tomorrow, I'll say I post everything I'm going to play at Eternal Weekend in my Patreon. You can have that information if you want it, viewer. Eternal Weekend's going to be about a week out when this video drops, and you will get to know my stuff. I'm actually already locked on my 2 decks, and I can start sharing that information.
That is super cool. I'll keep an eye out for that one. All right. I don't think I have anything else. Maybe you can shut us down here, Brian.
All right. Well, everybody, thanks for watching. If you're watching on my channel, go check out Eco Baronin. If you're watching over there, come check out BoshNRoll. I have a Patreon. He's got a Metafy. We both are dropping stuff over there as well if you want to support even further. And thanks for watching. We'll see you in a month for the next one of these.